Trust Dr. A on this one subject. The relationship between warmongering politicians and the military-industrial complex is often highly corrupt. Remember, politicians routinely lie to we the people on a variety of issues to influence public opinion into the direction they seek. These propaganda tactics were evident during the wars in Vietnam, Iraq, and most recently in Ukraine. This video will speak the real truth about the Russian invasion into their neighbor to the west, because the war in Ukraine is far more complicated than we've been led to believe by politicians. Despite Joe Biden's insistence, Vladimir Putin is not an evil warmonger engaging in an unprovoked incursion of a noble democracy. Putin is a rational actor responding to a national security threat, a strategic gauntlet, if you will, thrown down against the nation he leads. NATO, at the insistence of the Biden administration, has been overtly flirting with adding Ukraine into its ranks of allied nations. NATO admitting Ukraine into the alliance is not just about America projecting its might into the Black Sea or spreading democracy. It's about placing several traditional enemies on Russia's front doorstep, losing the Crimea, and closing ports for the Russian Black Sea Navy fleet. It was a similar situation in Cuba when the Soviet Union attempted to place strategic missiles on that island, a mere 90 miles from sovereign American territory. Now, analytically speaking, America faces three problem situations in the Ukraine war. These dilemmas are military, economic, and political. Militarily, keeping a weaker opponent in a war against a far stronger adversary will come at great cost to the American citizens, already staggered by record inflation. Remember, it is we the people who must ultimately be convinced to pay for the expensive weaponry being freely given to Ukraine. In reality, the United States of America is not supporting Ukraine, it is fighting a war in Ukraine's name. Economically, the Biden administration has levied numerous sanctions against Russia, which run the risk of the American dollar losing its status as the world's dominant reserve currency. Russia, China, and even India could set up alternative systems to move their money around inside of world banks. Politically, for the Biden administration, it is extremely difficult to build a forceful foreign policy on top of a wobbly domestic mandate. Joe Biden views the war as one between autocracy and democracy, the exact same framework he uses to describe MAGA Republicans. Both analogies are not true. I argue that it is dangerous to overestimate how much Americans know or even care about Russia or Ukraine, especially when they are paying $5 or $6 for a gallon of gas, or they can't find baby formula on the shelves at their local grocery store. My advice to Joe Biden is this: with American power and influence in decline, you cannot run a 20th century foreign policy with a 21st century society. Let freedom ring, God help us, and remember to always speak the truth, then endure the consequences. Class dismissed. Randy Arrington, PhD.